Welcome to episode 4 of Tunnelz, and in this episode we're going to be exploring Tideway. After many days of attempting to get in Tideway, and after many failed attempts, we finally did it. Now make sure you first check out episode 3 where I explain what Tideway is, and watching episode 3 will give you a sense of the full scale of how big this infrastructure project is. Tideway is huge, and I had many nights of fun down Tideway, and every Sunday night, which is the only time you get down here when there's no construction, was Sunday night from 11:30 PM to 4:30 AM. I had that short window opportunity to come down here, and I came down here 10 weeks running. So a big thank you to Tideway for many enjoyable nights of exploration and fun I had down here. It was an absolute adventure. So let's get started. So, which station do you think we entered Tideway from? There's a lot of stops, and Chambers Wharf is the most secure as it's the central stop of all of Tideway. And it was Chambers Wharf was the one we managed to get in. So, here we are in Bermondsey, Chambers Wharf stop of Tideway. Let's take a look at the shaft. It is 45 metres deep. This is very deep and absolutely epic. Looking at it from the top here, it's just got an amazing feel to it. It's big infrastructure. So let's now climb down to the Tideway tunnels. Now we've had another look at a map. At the Bermondsey Chambers Wharf station, there's actually 3 tunnels here. We've got the Abbey line, heading off a distance of 4.5 miles to Abbey Mills. We've then got the main central line, heading off a distance of about 6 miles to Kirtling Street near 9 Elms. Then we've got the Greenwich line, heading off 3.5 miles to Greenwich. So this is a very good site to get in. This is a major site where they lift all of the equipment in and out of Tideway. So let's now take a look at the different routes. This here is the Abbey line. When we were visiting this place, this still had the construction trains in it. This is because the tunnel boring machine for the Abbey line started at Bermondsey and then dug across to Abbey Mills. So Bermondsey was the main terminus station of the Abbey line, where all of the trains would take all of the stuff to and from the tunnel boring machine, and at this Bermondsey Chambers Wharf site, this is where they were lifting up and down the stuff to build a tunnel. And the fact they've just got a whole network of trains. This is literally a railway system beneath the streets of London that very few people actually know exists. It is epic. Now let's take a look at the Greenwich line. And on the nights that we were coming down into Chambers Wharf, this still had a tunnel boring machine in it. I've always wanted to see a tunnel boring machine. I never thought I'd ever actually get to see one. This is beyond awesome. This is such an impressive bit of equipment. This tunnel boring machine dug a tunnel starting at Greenwich and finished at Bermondsey Chambers Wharf. And once it finished its journey, it then was left here for many months. There was no signs they were actually removing the tunnel boring machine. They just left it there like I'd forgotten about it for quite a long time. And it is so fun to explore. Then let's take a look at the main central line. On this route, it looks quite a bit more plain. This is because the secondary liner machine had already started when we were coming down here to build a secondary lining around the tunnel, meaning all of the train tracks were lifted up, and then they were building a second concrete lining. So Tideway actually has 3 sets of linings. It's got the outer lining, it goes outside of the concrete a tunnel boring machine places, and that's like to protect the concrete segments. Then it's got the concrete segment lining, then it's got the secondary lining that they then build inside of the tunnel. So this tunnel is crazy over-engineered. Sadly, all of the lights that had gone from the main central line, so we didn't actually head down it because it just looks like a plain tunnel, not much to see. As for Greenwich line, we'll be exploring the tunnel boring machine in episode 5. As for this episode, let's explore the Abbey line. And let's take a look at those trains. So the first train along here, this seems to be some sort of cherry picker sort of train. So if there's a problem with the tunnel, it could be lifted up in a cherry picker to have a look and inspect it all. Then we've got here the passenger trains, taking workers to and from the tunnel boring machine. These trains look so epic. Just imagine commuting on one of these little construction trains. That would be so epic. Whoa, that is a weird fucking little thing. It's a train. Dirty work working on this, I must say, very dirty. And let's take a look at a driver's cab of one of the construction trains. This is what it looks like. This is my new train. That is so filthy. That's ridiculous. Welcome to my train. So let's now continue taking a look around this main station at Bermondsey Station. There's so much to see here and so much stuff to take pictures of. Digger train here. You've got a serious lot of trains. Got another train here. Now notice the red LED lights. These are actually a signal for the trains. So rather than a colour signal, they have it as a red LED strip, probably so you can see the signal from many different angles. Very unusual to use RGB LED strips as a signal, but very effective. So then, this two-track section to allow two trains to come next to each other, which is also used in other places as passing places, is in fact actually a train of its own right. This two-track passing place and points is actually on wheels, meaning that when they're constructing a tunnel, if they ever need to move the position of the passing places, they can simply wheel the passing places to different points in the tunnel. So the passing place is actually a train, and it allows trains to run on the tracks on top of it. That is weird. So let's now continue to take a look around the Abbey line. Notice the yellow pipe on the ceiling. This blows air to the tunnel boring machine. Then the air in the tunnel is the return air that goes up the shaft. Make sure the whole tunnel has ventilation while it's under construction. Also notice that on the walkway next to the tracks, which is a maintenance walkway, there's pipes. These pipes supply and take back the slurry system to the tunnel boring machine. It was actually on another Sunday night where we decided to walk further up the Abbey line. We had the idea we could walk the entire way from Bermondsey to Abbey Mills. That is a 4.5 mile walk, and it is an epic walk. So a couple of weekends later we return, and something has changed. It's changed since last time. So look, that's correct there, that's tunnel boy machine, that's coming out because that's finished. That way, secondary lining, that's curtains up. Oh, spooky, it's got curtains up. That's your shaft there. Notice the tracks at Bermondsey are now just single tracks. They have removed the passing place train thingy, meaning as the passing place on wheels is now gone, it's now a single track tunnel. Considering this is just 2 weeks later, a lot has changed. In fact, it's actually got different trains on it, such as this train, which I don't actually remember seeing this one before. Now just imagine if we got a train driving. It'd make the 4.5 mile journey to Abbey Mills so much quicker than walking it. But we've got no idea how to make these trains move and we weren't able to drive it. They've taken away the platform. Holy shit. They've taken away the walkway. I can't believe that they've actually taken away the walkway. They are literally finishing up this project. This project's almost over. They have nearly finished it. There's your train. Yeah, they've literally removed the walkway. It's an issue for Hannah Smith. Oh, the tube's deflated. Oh shit. That was a big tube last time, it's deflated. Now let's take a look at the yellow air pipe on the ceiling. It has deflated. So the tunnel boring machine, which is at Abbey Mills, has now been completely switched off. So there's actually now a parked tunnel boring machine at Abbey Mills. If we managed to make the walk all the way there, we'd get to see it. Even though there's actually a tunnel boring machine parked on the Greenwich line at Chambers Wharf, exploring 2 tunnel boring machines is better than exploring 1. So let's now make that walk to Abbey Mills. Let's go. Now, this is a very, very long walk. 4.5 miles might not sound that far, but I just think we're walking there and back. That's 9 miles. It is far. Also, another thing I must add is that walking is slow. Much slower than on the surface. So there's 2 ways you can walk. You can either walk along the tracks, and it is so slippy along the tracks. If you walk more than about 1.5 miles an hour, you'll slip over. So the other way we can walk down this tunnel is of course on the maintenance platform. But even on this, it's slower walking than on the surface because it's very bouncy, very noisy, and we're actually walking about 2.5 to 3 miles an hour. It felt like we were walking fast, simply because the flex of the platform makes it harder walking. We thought we were like walking 5 miles an hour, like really pacing it out, but we were walking half the speed we thought, meaning it took much longer to make progress along the tunnel. This would actually cause major problems for our missions, but we didn't realise this until later on. So then we continue along the tunnel, and along we go to an oxygen meter. Every 400 metres, that's every quarter of a mile, there's one of these oxygen meter stations. And on each of these things there's also a phone, and you can ring up all of the other phones on the same line that you're on. I don't think there's any way to phone up between the different lines. If you're on the Abbey line, I don't think you could phone on the Greenwich line, for example. So then we now go along to this thing. This is a piece of scaffolding. When we saw this, we thought we were actually approaching the next stop of Tideway, but it's not. This is a bit of scaffolding. And this here is actually to maintain a bit of a tunnel, which they must have detected had not gone correctly or something wrong with it. So I had to put up this temporary bit of scaffolding to maintain the tunnel. Notice this is done in a way so the trains can still pass underneath it. Ceiling entry. They must have had a leak and they're having to seal it. We're right under the Thames and we've got a slight leak. That is not a good sign. You can see the amount of water ingress on this bit here has greatly increased. Got a bucket here to collect the leak. Oh my. There are some bad leaks here. So then, after a very long walk along Tideway, we then arrive at the Wapping stop of Tideway. This is what Wapping looks like in the Tideway tunnel. Not much to be seen apart from these metal supports. Let's just remind ourselves of what Wapping looked like, considering we actually went down the Wapping shaft 3 times trying to get in over the last year. For some reason, we're not quite sure why, but the tunnel had deviated from the route it was meant to go on. Meaning at the Wapping stop, it had missed the shaft, and they had to build a very small connection tunnel to connect up the Wapping shaft with the Tideway tunnel. And you can see in the Tideway tunnel how they've added the metal supports to support the tunnel when the segments of the tunnel get smashed away to connect the tunnel to Wapping. It's very weird to think we were actually standing on the other side of these tunnel segments right at this spot not that long ago. So then we now continue down the Tideway tunnel. Change directions, it's not a straight tunnel. It goes curved, straight, then curved. Wow, walking for so long. And now a tunnel goes round and round again, and still no sign of the next station. It was at this point we suddenly realised how slow progress we were making. Considering that Wapping's not that far away from Bermondsey, it had taken us a very long time to walk it. This is because we were walking much slower than we actually thought we were walking. We thought we were walking at a really good pace and we'd easily get there and back in the time we had. But Because of how wobbly a platform is we're walking along, and just tunnels in general always make you feel like you're going quicker than you actually are when you're in a tunnel, we realised we'd misjudged this very badly, and we weren't going to have enough time to get all the way to Abbey Mills and back again.
I actually wanted to walk the whole way from Chambers Wharf to Abbey Mills, and that is about 3 stations. There's no way I'll be able to walk out, because you think that's not that far. Chambers Wharf, which is Bermondsey site, to Abbey Mills, which is somewhere around near Stratford, West Ham area. If you go, what's that, 4 miles? Yeah, you could walk out, hour and a bit, easily walk there back in the night. No, you've only got midnight to 5 AM and I want to get out by 4:30. You literally cannot get as far as you think you can get. Literally, we've been walking this pretty much all night. It's an all-night mission, and we can literally only make 1 station at a rush and get out before workers start.
We cannot risk being down here when the workers come in. We have to play it very safe. This counts as key infrastructure. Now, to be very clear, it's not illegal to be down here. This is no different to any other trespass. It's not a criminal matter. But as this is key infrastructure, you are treated with a lot of aggression, and you're treated with loads of suspicion, like you've done a major crime, despite the fact this is simple civil trespass. So we do not want to be caught. We have to play it safe and make sure we're out of Tideway by 4:30 AM.
We've actually got a signal there, that little signal. Oh, it's flooded there, we've got flood. Ooh, that's getting quite a big flood there. Something's not right with that. Something's wrong there. That shouldn't be flooding like that. That's wet. The machine there.
So then, we now reach a passing place. This is another one of those passing places that runs along the tracks, so I can move the position of the passing place. This passing place is located halfway to the tunnel boring machine. As the tunnel boring machine finishes its journey, it's always at Abbey Mills. We now know we're halfway to Abbey Mills. Also, looking at the distance on the telephones, it also shows us we're halfway there. We've run out of time. To my massive disappointment, we are not able to make it to Abbey Mills and back tonight. It shows how tightly timed we have to do these missions. We have to make sure we get in, get down to Tideway as fast as possible with no delay, which is hard to do considering we have to check all the security situation, make sure I haven't added any new cameras that can catch us and all that sort of stuff when we go down. We'd have to time it very, very tightly on a night, because there's only just enough time in the night to get there and back again. We didn't manage to get there, to our massive disappointment. So it was very disappointing that we didn't manage to make it all the way to Abbey Mills, but to be honest, we've had a lot of fun down Tideway, and it's been very enjoyable coming down here for 10 weeks in a row. It's been absolutely stunning. So let's not let that slight disappointment of not making it to Abbey Mills spoil what has been an absolutely amazing adventure. So then, make sure you stay tuned to my YouTube channel, because in episode 5 of Tunnelz, we're going to be exploring the tunnel boring machine at Bermondsey on the Greenwich line. Then, in episode 6, we do another long walk, but this time we're going to be walking the Greenwich line from Bermondsey to Greenwich, stopping at Surrey Quays and Deptford en route. Plus, when we get to Greenwich, we get to explore the secondary lining machine. There is a lot more to come in this series of Tunnelz, so make sure you stay tuned.
Good, I'll do that.